We are here today in windy. It's windy today, so you're going to hear a lot of noise on the roof and things like that. We are here to do an actual, look at that. Got to look at this too. An actual repair job. I don't do a whole lot of repair jobs because I don't like doing that much. And I don't really get that many either. But this is a friend's guitar, guy that I've worked for I've done his guitars for 20 years probably, and he had an issue with his guitar. He dropped it. And look at that. Busted the binding off, and man, that is a nice crack and split. And when we go inside, we're going to see that the kerfing is split right here. Well, you can tell that right away because of the way this is raised right here. So the challenge here is going to be to get this all back on. It should be a pretty easy repair once I get this split down. And the problem with this is that it has leveraged up. And so, right here, right about in here, the wood has created a little ledge. And let me open up this GoPro. Man, these are strong magnets. Okay, so I'm going to set this down here. What's happened is the wood split. And when it split, it didn't come up like this. And this is a nice square. See what I'm saying here? This is nice and square here. It'd be nice if it just went like this, but it didn't do that. It split in a jagged edge. So this edge goes like this and comes down a little bit. And this edge here comes like this and goes the opposite way. And what happened is, I can't do this with my fingers. What happened is that this one came up, and now it won't come down because it's hitting on this ledge right here. So I have to figure out how to do that, how to get that back down there. You could come in with a razor and cut that and drop it down there, but I don't want to do that if I don't have to, because then there's going to be a little bit of a gap right here where the two pieces come together. I really would rather bring this edge out a little bit so that I can drop this one. And the way I would do that is to try to push out on the outside of the guitar here. Actually pull it out just a little bit. It's not bad. I mean, it's going to be pretty close. Let's take a look at this a little bit closer, and let's see if I can get you in here to see what I'm talking about. All right, I've got your GoPro in here as close as I can get it to try to show you what's going on here. And what happens if you try to push down right here, you can see it wanting to move. Especially up here, it wants to move, but it's hanging up right there. And it's a little bit of, like I said, the ledge comes off and then it angles a little bit. And you can see that angle right here. Let's bring that up. See if I can get it there. I think you can get that. I think you can see that. And you can see this angle right here. And it's catching right there. So I've got to figure out how to get that down there. One way would be to pull these two apart just a little bit, if I can, but another way would be to take these two levels and bring this one up. And so you can see with my fingers right here, they're touching. If you bring either one of them up, it becomes like a drawbridge. What's those bridges in the cities, that come up like that? Anyway, the two come apart. So if I can push this side up, then I can create enough of a gap that I might be able to drop this one down. And I'll try that. So before we get on that, let's go inside the guitar and look at it and see what you can see in there. It's going to be a little tricky, I think. It's going to take me about 3 hands to do this. Okay, so here we go. We're going to go for a dive inside the guitar. Alright, so here's our gap back here. You can see it. Should be able to see it back there. Watch it when I push down on it. I'm going to push down right now. And you can see the kerfing going down, but you can see it hanging up over here too. So that kerfing is going to match. That kerfing is going to match. And I'll get some glue in there before no, I get the glue after I get those two pieces. But if I get glue in where those two curving pieces came together, it's going to be fine. It's going to be really hard to get it from the inside because I can't reach that far, and I need something to push up against there. So my best bet is going to be to come from right here on the outside of the binding and push glue in there. You got to figure this stuff out, you know. This is all part of the repair process. It's not a cookie cutter thing. You're going to have to figure this out. But there's our goals. And the first goal to this is don't just start smashing things together. See how well they want to go together. And then there's a problem here where it's hanging up. And so now we're going to fix that problem the best as we can. So probably what I'm going to do is put the camera down now. And I'm going to get a jack. And I'm going to put it up in there and see what happens if I try to lift this outer edge up just a little bit. Got to be real careful here, of course. We don't want to cause more damage to the guitar. All right, here's the jack we're going to use. This is from StewMac. And these things are expensive. They're over $100. I can't remember how much they are. I've got two of them. But when you need one of these, they are invaluable. And they work with the screw jack right here, which is a lot easier to use than the other kind of jacks that have a turnbuckle sort of thing. The turnbuckle ones are really hard to hold. This one has a magnet on the top. So what I can do, and what I'm going to do, is I'm going to get a magnet. Here it is. And I'm going to take this magnet, and I'll use that to hold this in place and put it right where I want it. So here we go. We're going to run this magnet, or this jack inside here. And we're going to watch and see what we can do with this top right here. So I'm going to bring this in here. And we can do that. And there's a brace in the way. Okay, but I got it. Come down to here. And that's holding the jack up. So I'm going to go ahead and crank it down now. Oh, that takes every itch. I gotta get my sweatshirt off. They make a handle extension for it, but the problem with the handle extension is that the jack will rotate while you're trying to do that. You can't hold the jack. You need to hold the jack. So, here we go. There it goes. I don't know what's going to happen here. I'm opening the jack up here. It's a long reach. I might have to put a wooden block in there. Let's see. Here we go. Putting some contact on it. It's tight, but I think I ran out of jack room. Let's see. Yeah, I've got that jack extended as far as it'll go, and it's not quite enough. So I'm going to have to put a piece of block of wood down in the back of the guitar. Let's see what happens. Let's see if I can get it down there, just to see. Ah, yeah. Perfect. So, success. That's what I wanted it to do. By pushing this up, I brought this one up, and that popped down perfectly. Well, I'm happy about that. And I still got enough room. Let me see. I got to keep turning the camera on and off so I can see what I'm doing. I still have enough room here. You can see me pushing that down. So I've got some push down, which means I'll be able to get glue in there. So yeah, so that's what I wanted to do. Woohoo! I think we're safe in taking this out now. Success. God. This is such a useful tool, man. When you need this tool, there's nothing else. Nothing else. Okay. Now I'm going to study this situation a little bit more. I'm going to study this, and I'm going to go inside and stick my head in there, and I'm going to watch these pieces go together some more before I throw glue in there. And probably, I'm wondering whether I should glue the kerfing first or whether I should glue the cracks first. If I glue the crack first, then I've got the whole back is loose. But if I glue the back down first, then I'm not going to be able to get the glue into the cracks. So I'm thinking I should glue the cracks first, so that I have one piece of wood going up and down like this, rather than if I glue the back down, I'm not going to be able to push these two cracks apart to squeeze the glue into there. And I think that's going to be the better solution, is to work the cracks first and then come back and do the glue back here later. Both of these cracks are going on really, really nice. Really nice. So, I'm going to get some glue. I'm going to get my clamps set up, and then I'll bring you back over here. You can watch the process of doing that. Let's take a look at this crack here to test the closing of the crack. Get the camera in here. Alright, there's our crack right there. And at first I thought I was going to work with both cracks at once. So maybe take a piece of wood like this and bridge both. But when I press down with my fingers, I see that it's a little tricky to do, because this one here doesn't want to quite go down. If I work on this one, I can close that down very easily. So take this little piece of wood here. It's got a piece of Teflon stuck on the back of it so it won't stick. And if I come down here and imitate a clamp, that one goes together beautifully. You can see the ledges are even. And you're going to take a piece of wood and you can span it from here to here, which will give you an automatic, easy to do level. That goes together really good. This one pops up. And then I think I'll deal with this one separately. So it needs a little bit more pressure, and it's got to come right there. I might work with this one and get it glued and then come over and do this one. But I'm not going to do it like this with one piece of wood spanning both of them, because that is just not going together right there like I want it to. So I might deal with this one with a set of clamps and then do this one at the same time, but with a separate set of clamps. We'll see. There's no reason getting in a hurry on this kind of thing. And that is the main thing about repair work, actual repair work. Don't get in a hurry. So my gut tells me, my instinct says that I'm better off working on this one and then coming back and doing this one. And I noticed how that goes down there really nice and beautifully here. So, I'm going to glue this crack, and I'm going to glue this section at the same time. I'm going to try not to get too much glue up in here, and then I'm going to get that when I come back. If I get this glued down all the way to here, that should be fine. And leave this unglued so that I can come up here and get this section. And you can see how nice that goes together when I put pressure right there. And like I said, I might do this all at once, but with a separate set of clamps. I'm thinking about it. Yeah, I'm thinking about my strategy here. I'm also, as I'm watching this, I'm thinking about my glue choice, because I was going to originally use hot hide glue, which I'm in the process of actually making. But the more I think about this, if I have a little bit of extra time, in other words, hot hide glue Hot hide glue takes, you have 15 seconds to work with. It's got to be hot. The wood has to be hot. It does not fill gaps at all. It's worthless for filling gaps. And if you don't get the wood warm and the glue warm, it's a total failure. So, it sounds sexy to say that. You know, it sounds, oh, I use hot hide glue. And that was my first inclination. But now as I'm sitting here pushing on it, I'm thinking fish glue might be my better choice. Fish glue does not have to be heated. It can be heated a little bit, and it flows that nice. It's pretty strong. This is not a really stressed situation here. This is not like a bridge. You see, a bridge is a very stressed situation, and hot hide glue fails a lot there. I have re-glued so many bridges that are glued on hot hide glue, I can't tell you. I don't use hot hide glue on bridges. I mean, I know I've done it. All of my bridge failures have been with hot hide glue. So, I could use Luthier's Mercantile white glue, and the only issue with this is it can leave a glue line. It also doesn't flow as well as hot hide glue, and that's why I was leaning towards hot HHG. Okay, I was leaning toward HHG to begin with because you can get it really thin and it'll flow into those cracks really, really well. So you take a brush and brush it on there, and it'll really flow into there. The fish glue will not flow quite that well unless I heat it, which I certainly can do. The Luthier's Mercantile white glue, which is basically Titebond, does not flow at all. You gotta squish it, and that's why it's good at filling gaps a little bit. It does not fill gaps, but it will fill gaps better than anything else. And I would like to use it on the kerfing back in here. I'd like to use it back in here. But if I can get fish glue down there, I'm confident it'll hold it. I've done quite a few experiments with gluing pieces of wood together and then heating them up and using moisture, you know, trying to take them apart, that kind of thing. And I have quite a bit of confidence in fish glue. Trying to think if I've ever had a failure on it. Possibly one bridge plate came loose. I'm not sure about that. I'm not sure what the problem exactly was. I had a bridge plate that came chronically loose up in this one corner right here. I hate to blame the fish glue because it also had a chronically loose section of brace that took me a couple of times to get. I have I have probably 3 or 4 bridges glued up with fish glue, including the Shop D18, and I have had 0 issues with it. But I also don't put those guitars through stage presence. So this is a stage guitar, and when you're up on stage, as you well know, the spotlight's coming down, it's hot. The guitars they don't always get treated with baby care, you know. And I do baby the Shop D18, not intentionally, but just because it doesn't go out anywhere. So I still trust fish glue, but I'm not sure I trust it on a bridge or a highly stressed situation. So, point being, this is really back here on the back of the guitar is a fairly low stress situation. And the criteria that I'm looking for in my glue, I want the glue to flow. HHG, when it dries, would pull the wood together. But I have had pretty poor success in gluing cracks with HHG because it does not fill gaps at all. And if there's any gap whatsoever, it's just going to come apart again. So I started off thinking I might go with HHG. And I'll tell you what I think I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and mix up some HHG, and I'm going to use it on the crack on the top. But when I get back to here, I'm going to switch over to the fish glue, and I'm going to run the fish glue into the back right here because I want that extra working time with it. And I might just skip the whole thing and heat the fish glue up, and I think it's going to flow pretty good. So that's what we're going to do. I'm giving you my thought process here because these are decisions that have to be made when you're doing this repair work. If you just if you just use the same glue all the time and don't think about it, sometimes it's not the best glue, the best choice you could have made for the situation at hand. So I'm just giving you my thought process here. And given the pros and cons of all of these glues, I think I've got to go with fish glue. Yeah, I'm going to go with fish glue, and I'm going to heat it up for the cracks. And I think we'll be in good shape. And the reason I'm leaning towards it because it gives me more time. It gives me hours before it sets. And that gives me enough time to get back here and work on this second set of crack. So if I have 15 seconds to do this with HHG, can I get the glue in there, clamp it, and then get back over here and clamp it before everything cools down? That's my problem, you see? And then, when those two kerfing pieces mold together, is the HHG going to hold it? I'm confident the fish glue will, because it's thicker and when it's going to give me more squishability, and I have more confidence in this. That's what we're going to do. Alright, we're going to heat the fish glue up, and we're going to go with that. So, get the camera over here so you can probably see what's going on here. I hope you're not, I'm trying to let you see what's going on, but at the same time you're in the way, dear viewer. So I'm going to use these two pieces. I'm going to use this one here, try to come out here. I'm going to use these clamps first. I'll have this edge up on a sandbag so that when I put these on here, it'll balance out. And then I have another set of clamps ready to go. And another couple of Teflon pieces of wood that I can come over here and get that in. And I really like the way that's going down when I get right there. So it's got to have a clamping pressure right there. And then we should be good to go. Got my pieces of wood. Once I start on this, it's got to go fast. So, I'm going to go ahead and get my fish glue, and I'm going to heat it up at the hairdryer. And we'll be good to go. Hairdryer, fish glue, heat it up. In fact, I'm going to get that little cup and heat it up in there so that I can use a brush. I'll show you. Got my fish glue in a cup right here. Hairdryer. Gonna heat that up. I'll probably cut you out on this part because you don't need to hear. Nobody wants to hear the hairdryer going, so here we go. Fish glue is warmed up a little bit, and yeah, see that's fairly running. I added just a tiny bit of water in there. Mix that up. Make sure I can see this on here, and I can see it. And here we go, okay? So, I'm going to push down on this, and I'm going to use this brush to brush that in there. You can work it up and down like this. You can see that glue squeezing. And that's what I want to do. I want to draw that glue down in there. Okay? Bring this back. Same thing. Reach in here. Push that up. There we go. I wish I could get that underneath there. I don't want to pop this back up again there, not in the middle of this. So. Okay, we're going to go ahead and do this, get this in there. Push up and down on it to draw the glue in. Stupid brush. Okay. Put a little bit of water on there. Alright, we're ready to clamp. First thing I'm going to do now This is why I'm using the fish glue, see, because I need this a little bit of time here. I'm going to go ahead and get this pretty wet. Try and get the glue down in there. Even just a little bit of glue down along this seam is going to help. Alright, mostly got that cleaned up. The camera over here. Okay, now hopefully we can see what's going on. Come in here with this. First thing I'm going to do is push this down by myself and find out where I like that. And that's good right there. Oh, I'm happy with that. Man, I saw a lot of squeeze out right there. Bring this down. You could use magnets to put the cracks together, but I want to push the kerfing together at the same time, so that's why I'm doing it this way. I like magnets. I've used magnets a lot. Then we're going to put a second clamp over here. Don't like that one quite as well. There. That's better. I might have to cross the bridge with this one, so to speak. I put just a little bit more pressure on that side, which will bring the two of these together. Yeah, right there. Oh, come on, don't move. Oh, that's good right there. That came in nice and level. Super. Okay. The problem I was having is when I bridged the two cracks like this one was still up just a little bit, which happens. So I shifted this piece of wood to the other side over here and pushed it down to where I wanted it. When I did that, I caught the second crack and brought the head of it here. It's like a stream tributary. And I brought that together. So now I should be able to come in with this one and bring it down to here, and that looks really good. And I'm going to put on just one side because the other side is tight against the kerfing. I like that. Grab another clamp. And I actually, at this point, could use one of these. This should stay up in the air. If it fits under here, yes, it does. And I don't even need the piece of wood here. Get that nice and level and clamp. Beautiful. Oh, that's nice. Okay, I got lucky. See, these are easier to use than these because it was one-handed and it's not hitting the ground down here, so it's not going to upset the T-cards. Alright, let's take an aerial view on that. There's an aerial view on this repair. And you can see a little bit of squeeze out here, which is good because that means I'm getting squeeze out down below. And everything looks nice and level back in here, which may or may not show up on the camera, but I can tell. That looks good. That looks really good down here. We got a little bit of a bump right here, but I'll worry about that later. Yeah, and you can see the backs popped out right here. Just a little bit. We'll worry about that later. The main thing here is to get these cracks down and on that kerfing, and then we'll pull this little section here in later. You see what I'm talking about? There's a little ledge right here on the back, and that's going to go in. But I'll have to run a clamp from here clear across to this side of the guitar. I'll have to run a clamp across there to pull that in using a claw. I'll do that later. Because the way the guitar is constructed, you want to get the top glued first, and then you bring the bait in, the bottom in. Main thing is I want those top cracks good, and they look really good. So that sits overnight. Well, good morning. We're back, and I'm about to take the clamps off this guitar. First thing I noticed right away, I've got another loose piece right here. The binding is up right there, and I can see this thing, a little bit of another split down there, which I didn't notice yesterday. I left this clamped up, and I also put some humidity in there, so the humidity probably caused it to pop up a little bit. So I don't know. Got a crack going across the top right here. This really took some impact, some serious impact. So not just a matter of fixing these two cracks. Now, we're going to pop the clamps off of here and see what we got. Like I said, that's the way repair jobs go a lot of times. You know, you fix one problem and then you find some other ones that were hidden. Reminds me of a skid steer I used to have on the ranch. I'd fix one oil leak, and it would leak at another place, because, you know, you chasing oil leaks all around the thing. And I finally I sold it when we left, and the new owner took it in, and they had about $4,000 worth of stuff done to it, which it really needed, which he knew about. So let's look at this. Let's bring the camera over here. I'm going to bring the guitar over because my battery is low on the GoPro. So we can see we have some loose stuff going on here. And yeah, this is a good angle. And you can see the tops popped up right here. Now, when I push down on this, yeah, it's going down. It's going down good. So, but it's not going down right here. That's stuck. So I need to find out what's going on up here that this is not going down. Alright, so this is pushing down nice right there. But I need to figure out what this is about right there. So a really good way to do that, just get your clamps out of the way for a second. Now they can stay there. Is take a magnet. These things are super aggressive. Hard to get off of there. This is a magnetic bar too. This is a magnetic bar with a magnet on top of it. Anyway, a really good way to do this is to take this like that and put some magnet in here. Just move it across the top. Got to go over the braces. Of course, it fell off of there. There we go. I got to get over that brace. There we go. Run it down this way. Now, you can put it right there. That's where the bulge is. Then I can come inside of the mirror and I can see exactly where that is, which is what we're going to do here. So I'm going to take a peek and then I'll show you. Alright, it's clear of the brace, but yeah, it's at the kerfing back there. Let's get some light. I just literally walked out to the shop this morning, and I'm still about half asleep. I wanted to get this glued up. Where's my light? There it is. It's in there. It's already inside. Did I leave it off? Yeah. Okay, let's stick GoPro in there, and you can see the magnet in the back. There you go. You should be able to see the magnet back there. And so that's where the problem is. So I'm going to leave this camera in there because I can see it pretty good. We're going to push down on that top right there. I think I'm just going to clamp it. See what it looks like. I'm just going to go ahead and clamp it because I don't see any obstruction over there, and I have not glued it or anything yet, so I think it just needs, I hate to use the word force, but it just needs to be pushed down right there. A little bit stronger than my thumb, and also this is where the back is loose a little bit, so yeah, push that down. Yeah, it's gonna go. It just takes a little bit more force, which is all right, you know. It's all right if it takes a little bit of force. I try not to, force it down too much, but it just needs a little bit of a firm hand. And I'm pushing on the back here, and I can see it moving in really nice. So I don't think that's going to be a problem to glue up. I'm going to go ahead and glue this up, clamp it, and leave it again. And this is going to be another multi-hour thing. So I'm going to glue this exactly like I did the other section. Let's take a look at the pieces we glued yesterday. And they look pretty good. That's totally unretouched. I have not cleaned it. I haven't done anything. That's raw off the clamps. Pretty smooth. I think that'll be all right. So this is my next section, and then we'll be back again in several hours. Clamp arrangement for this. As I pushed down on these two, I could see the back here bulging out. So I knew that I needed to get this clamp on it here in order to pull that back in as I clamp this down. And I had to do that very quickly. But I believe I got it now. And I think the top's going to look really good here. And I've got the back glued on, which I knew I was going to have to do, but I could see that it was sticking. So in other words, I glued the rim here, and then I clamped it down. When I did that, the back popped out, and I knew I was going to glue it out if I didn't do something about it right now. So I came in and put this other clamp in, hold the back up, the sides, hold the side up, and then bring the top down to it. You got to watch that kind of thing. And we're looking pretty good so far. I'm not going to touch anything. Let's see if we can get the camera over here to look at it. I'm still charging the GoPro, so there it is. And I just had to use a little rubber foot that's on the back of that. It'll be all right. It doesn't have very much pressure on it at all. I was able to push it in with my thumb really nice. So it didn't take any pressure. So when you watch this, don't be too critical about my clamping here because I didn't put a claw on it. I just clamped it directly to the guitar. I had to work fast. It already took 3 hands to do this. So, not much pressure on there. If I did any, I didn't do anything. Just took it has so little pressure on it right now that the clamp will fall off if I touch it. So we're leaving it alone. So I pulled the side in, and then I brought the top down. So that alone holds it, you see. So it's good. We'll leave it now for the rest of the day. Repair work. Several hours later, let's take some clamps off. See what we're looking at here. HHG dries a little bit faster than fish glue. I used HHG on this because, well, I wanted to try it. And I also needed that runny glue that I was talking about earlier. Plus, it's going to merge with the fish glue that's already kind of in there. I think it's very decent. Got that top down really nice now. Let's get all this out of here. Damp paper towel. Starting to look good. Got all the cracks down. Clean this up. Well, I'm liking it. I like it. Pretty good now. bring it over to the camera. Gotta untangle the cord off of the strings. Let's bring this over to the camera. There's the cracks we're looking at, and you can see they're nice and flush. I got the back glued down pretty good. It's got just a tiny little edge on it, but that's nothing major. And let's see if it'll move back in anymore. No, it's glued. I'm glad I did that where I put the clamp on there, because it is definitely glued in now. Whew. Okay, let's see what the binding looks like. Piece of binding. And the square piece goes here. And there's a good possibility I'm going to have to open this up a little bit, because it doesn't want to sit down in there. Yeah, I'm going to have to get a razor blade. Nope, it's going in. Yeah, it's going in. It's a tight fit, which is what you want, you know. When I glued it, I know I pushed the white binding in just a little bit, but we've got just enough give here. Oh, yeah. It better go. Yeah, it's going. Nice. Fits in there really nice now. Yeah, see, it squished a little bit of it up right there. Right there. You can see it squished a little bit of the black plastic up. That's not a big deal. I'm going to scrape that to clean it up. And it fit in there really tight, which is what I want. So I'm going to take my razor blade here, and I'm just going to scrape this off. Like that. And there's my binding. We'll go grab the other piece, and we'll go ahead and put it in. Here's the other piece of binding. And I don't know how this is going to fit, so I don't know if I've got it all, if I'm missing some. I've got it all. And I'm going to do the same thing here. Oh, it goes in with my thumb pretty good, but I like using the clamp. I like to use the clamp because that just gives me a nice, even more pressure. So here we go. Clamp that. Just walk that binding in there. And it's not going to go right at the very, very end. Scooted. Good. Yeah, I got to push it back a little bit. Okay. Let's see if I can do this. A piece of wood. I'm gonna smooth the camera over here. I'll show you what I'm talking about. Right there. In order to fit this in exactly, I've got to push it down really snug against this piece right here. Which is nice, because that means I've got all my binding, none of it's missing. Everything is going to be nice and tight and snug when it goes together. But I have to actually get it together. So I'm going to take this piece of wood right here. It's got a nice square edge. And I'm going to see if I can push this backwards a little bit. And I expect it to chip just a little bit. I'm going to fix that. Hard to hold. Get a bigger piece of wood, something I can hold up on top. Need a nice square piece of wood. I guess this should probably work. That's what I want right there. This, so I can get my hand on it. Ah, yeah, that skidded it. Definitely moved it there. I may have to, yeah, I got it. Except for a very, very small amount right there. Okay. Got just a little bit right there. You know, I'm going to have to tap it. I'm going to tap it now instead of trying to force it. I need a little bit more force. I don't have much left to go on that. Yeah. So I used a piece of wood to tap it. I needed more of an abrupt thing than the clamp was doing, because of course the clamp is rubber, so it's going to absorb some impact right off the bat. But this was it's pretty good. Okay. I'll bring my razor blade back now. And I'm going to scrape very lightly across the top just to smooth some stuff here. Smooth these junctions where they come in. Super smooth. Oh, that looks real good. That looks good. There's the binding back on. I'm gonna read that mirror. Right there. Okay, now for this is basically a binding repair at this point. So, I'll get my clamps out of the way. I don't think I'm going to need them again. Yeah, let me just put these up. And thin. This is the Glue Boost Finish Thin. Shake it up, make sure it's mixed good. Sometimes the chemicals will settle out of here if it hasn't been used for a while. And I actually still have some in this. Yeah, I still have some in this pipette right here. So we just use it. So, all right, now get the sandbags off. I don't need them anymore. Put one up there. Now what we're going to do, move the camera again so we can get in a little bit closer and you can see what's going on. Take a pipette and I'm going to run it along the binding. It's going to go down into there and fill in the places where it came out. It doesn't take much glue to do this. Okay? Pop off any excess with my finger. Get that clamp on there quickly. Now I wish I had my sandbags back. Clamp that binding down. Sandbags back. There we go. Make sure I get that Teflon on it right there. That's good. That's good. Take the thin one. I'm just going to flip it around here. This. And you want to get some super glue actually on top of the binding so that you hold the herringbone pieces together. They've been disturbed by the breakage, and so you've got to basically glue them back together again. You're replacing finish that was broken. Put a little bit on there, it looks good. Wipe it off very quickly before it dries, and that's good. I wonder if I can get this binding in. Is that going to move? It's not worth doing there. It's going to cause more problems. So leave that. Making good progress here. Now, The reason I want it up on the sandbags is so that the clamps have room to clear the table and everything, so I'm not fighting to put the clamps on against the table. You know, I need that body clear and up in the air so that I can get the clamp on there and put it where I want it and it doesn't shift. So this is looking really nice. We're back on day 3 repairing this guitar. I'm going to do this popsicle brace repair in a separate video because sometimes I might need to refer to that just specifically. Somebody says, how do I fix this? And I can send them straight to that video on the popsicle brace repair. The failed popsicle brace repair. So for now, we're going to finish this one up with just polishing the top. And it's really no big deal. You could probably do nothing to this one, but I think I can make it a little bit better. I hope. One thing about doing any kind of finish repair is you need to know when to stop. Because getting a little bit better sometimes makes it worse. But the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take this micro mesh, and this is a 2400, and I'm going to come up here and I'm just kind of smooth this out a little bit. Not putting much pressure on this, I'm just kind of feeling for where the rough spots are. And I've got a little bit of rough on the binding right here. A little bit of glue that's sticking up. None of this is really bad at all. Smoothing that out. And I'm not going to try to make it perfect. You're not going to be able to, for one thing. And what's the point of it? Like I said, it's a working man guitar. Working man stage guitar. And it ought to wear its cracks and battle scars proudly. And it's just going to take a massive amount of effort to try to make it invisible. And the rate of success in actually doing that is small. So it wouldn't be bad if you did a lot of work and actually got your goal. But in my experience, I have seen very, very, very few truly invisible finish repairs like this. That wood is separated, it's got dirt in it, it's got, it's just not going to happen. So now I've switched over to 36 grit, 3600. Going back here. And you always want to, if you sand this way, then your next one should be crossways. And then you go this way, and then you go that way. And what you do is you're just sanding all your little scratches out and getting smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. I'm going to take this one along with the grain for the last one. Not using very much pressure at all on this. This is just a blue paper towel, it's no big deal. I'm just wiping that paper up. The one thing about this is the more shiny you get it, the shinier you get it, the more your cracks are going to stand out. So on this matte finish right now, these cracks are really hard to see. But as soon as I start polishing this, which I'm going to do, they're going to pop out even more. So that's another reason to not really try to make it too shiny. Fortunately, your arm goes over this, and so that's going to hide a lot of that. And who cares? They're repaired cracks. I'm going to push down on them. Yeah, they're nice. I don't see anything opening up. So my actual crack repair is pretty good. I've got a little bit of a super glue bleed over right here, and I think I can get that a little bit better. I'm going to take a razor blade, make sure it's clean, because it's got some dirt and stuff on it. I'm going to use another razor blade, make sure I got this clean. If you've got dirt on your razor blade, on your scraper, then you're gonna cause gouges. So you want to make sure this is clean. You can come down here a little bit. I'm not going to use the whole blade out there either, so I'm just going to come across like this and scrape that very lightly. You can hear it hitting that edge right there.
This is super glue squeezed out from when I did the binding and I put the clamps on it, and it squoze out into here a little bit. Super careful here not to break through the finish. I'm just trying to smooth out this edge. I'm going to bring the camera over here and show it to you. There it is. See it in the light? There's a good view. That right there. That's a little bit of the super glue squeeze out, and I used the Glue Boost. I used the Glue Boost, so it actually acts as a pretty good finish. It's very easy to scrape this off. If this was real super glue, this would be really hard and not flexible. Listen to that truck going down the road, man. But the Glue Boost stuff is pretty easy to work with. So in other words, real super glue that's hard is going to be harder than the finish. And it's really difficult to scrape down hard surface surrounded by soft surfaces. Your inclinations are going to go home, and you're going to hit a dent right there. But when you've got a flexible super glue like Glue Boost, they're more similar materials, and it's easier to do. And again, I'm just going here. I'm trying to get the edge down. I'm not worried too much about the center. I'm just getting that edge down a little bit. Starting to smooth it out. Yeah, there it goes. I'm actually pulling the super glue off of it here, which is good. And if you blow it and go through the finish, then you're gonna have to fix that. Okay, that's pretty good. Now I'm gonna come back with that 2400, and I'm gonna focus right on that border line there, the marriage line. I'm not sure what they call that. The coastline. I'm going to use my thumb, and I'm going to focus right on that coastline. Oh yeah, I'm getting there. So after I just talked about how I wasn't going to try to make this invisible or anything, here I am trying to make it invisible. But that one has a very high success rate and looks really good now. Come back with the 36. Light touch. Nice. Let's take a look at that. I can see it a little bit because of the different reflection, but I'm not done yet. So let's take a look. So that's a lot better. You can see the reflection right there. And that's due to that factor called chatoyance, where different materials reflect light differently. Nothing you can do about that. And that is why it is almost impossible to get a truly invisible finish repair, because that chatoyance is going to reflect light at different angles, and you are just not going to get it. I don't even think I'm going to use the mechanical buffer on this. I'm going to do this by hand. Fine cut cleaner here. Shake it up. It's been sitting for a while. Get all the good stuff up. All the good stuff up. Whee! That should be good. And the tip is nearly always clogged. No, it's not today. Pretty good for a Monday. Smear that on there. And you know, like I said, I can use my drill mounted press, but it's going to make it too shiny. And I don't want to do that. I'm just going to buff it like this. And this is a rag that I use for this purpose, so it's already loaded with stuff. And that's about as shiny as I'm going to get right there. That's pretty shiny. You can still see that glue there a little bit, but that's all right. All right, that's it for that. So, there's our crack repair. There's our various crack repairs. And had a big crack right here. That was a crack. You can still see it a little bit. There was a great big crack right there. There was a crack right there that you can see. And there was a crack right there. The binding was all gone. Now it's back together. The side went on really well. Just a tiny lip right there, which is nothing. You would find that in a million guitars that have shrunk. The main thing is it's stout, steady. So we're going to call that good, and we already took a look at the inside of it. Back in there, we saw that the kerfing was all together, and I'm not getting any separation here. Pushing down on that. Okay, that's where I'm going to leave it. Any more than that, you could do a little bit better if you came in and worked on this and worked on this and worked on this. It's going to take another 2 hours of time, and it's just not worth it. Because this guitar has got other battle marks on it. You know, this isn't the only battle mark that it's got. So this is where we're going to stop on it. You know, it's got dings on it here. It's got pick scratches. It's got, you know, other things going on. And we're going to stop here and leave it alone. I'm pretty happy with that on the whole. So, guitar's going to be in good shape. Now we're going to work on the popsicle brace here, and that's going to be a separate video. And I'll go to that. So, see you later.